Hello, today we have to discuss about the very important concept that is called Snell's law. In most of the cases, this Snell's law is said to be very important for the students who are preparing for their main examinations. So after the completion of this topic, the student can able to understand the Snell's law of reflection as well as the Snell's law of refraction. In order to have the better understanding of this topic, let us have a clear understanding of this diagram, in which let us take this vertical line indicates the boundary separating the two mediums. Left of this line will be nothing but the medium 1 and right of this line is nothing but the medium 2. This is the boundary line separating the two mediums. Let us assume the incident wave, which is called by 1 dash. So this is the incident wave. Let us assume this incident wave, which is striking on the boundary, incident on the boundary at points O as well as the O dash. After striking the boundary, some part of the electromagnetic wave can able to penetrate into the medium 2, and the remaining part of the electromagnetic wave can able to reflect in the same medium. So, how much amount of angles which are taken with respect to the normal line can be taken as theta I, theta R as well as the theta T, where theta is nothing but the angle taken by the incident electromagnetic wave with respect to the normal line of the boundary separating the mediums. So here theta I is nothing but the angle of incidence of the incident wave, whereas theta R is nothing but the angle made by the reflected wave with respect to the normal line. And at the same time, theta T indicates the angle made by the transmitted electromagnetic wave in the medium 2. So as we already said, all the angles should be taken with respect to the normal. So I am taking theta I, theta R as well as the theta T. So all these angles are taken with respect to the normal. Okay. So you see, this is the theta I indicates incident angle. So this is nothing but theta R. Theta R indicates the reflected angle. This is nothing but the theta T. Theta T indicates the transmitted angle. Okay. So let us see, 1 dash indicates the incident electromagnetic wave, and 2 dash indicates the reflected electromagnetic wave. After that, the 3 dash indicates the transmitted electromagnetic wave in the medium 1. So let us assume, let us draw a perpendicular bisector to the line 1. Okay. So from point O, I just drawn a perpendicular bisector. So this indicates the perpendicular bisector to the incident electromagnetic wave that can be represented by 1. So this is the perpendicular bisector. When you are drawing a perpendicular bisector means this angle is said to be the 90 degrees. And at the same time, let us draw a perpendicular bisector from O dash to the 2 dash. Okay. So from O dash to 2 dash, the reflected electromagnetic wave, I just drawn a perpendicular bisector to the 2 dash. So this angle is nothing but 90 degrees. And at the same time, from O dash to the line 3 dash, I just drawn again a perpendicular bisector. Let us represent, this will be B. Okay. So the perpendicular bisector O dash and B is drawn on the 3 dash line. So in such a case, this angle is also 90 degrees. Let us represent, this point will be capital A as well as this point will be A dash. So this is all about the diagram regarding to the Snell's law. So from this diagram, we have to bring the equation corresponding to the Snell's law. So from this diagram, it should be noted that the distance covered by the electromagnetic wave from A to O dash, this is also equal to the distance taken from O to A dash also. That means the distance taken from AO dash is also equal to OA dash as per the experimental observations. That means the distance taken by the AO dash, electromagnetic wave AO dash, which is also equal to OA dash. And at the same time, the distance taken by AO dash is also equal to the distance taken from O to B. Okay. So the distance traveled by the electromagnetic wave is also same as that of OB. Okay. That means AO dash is also equal to OB. Okay. So these are the very important topics taken from the experimental observations. Right. So from this topic, I just taken AO dash equal to OA dash. Okay. So first of all, what is the value of AO dash and what is the value of OA dash? In order to have this, first of all, let us take this diagram. Please have this. This is OA dash. Let us take the triangle OA as well as O dash. Okay. Just I am taking the angle triangle OA as well as OA dash. Okay. So let us take. I am drawing this diagram separately. So this is the boundary. This is the normal line. Okay. So this is one dash. Okay. So this is 1 dash. Okay. So this is the reflected electromagnetic wave. This is 2 dash. Write that. Okay. So this is the normal line. So this point is said to be A. Okay. So here, please observe carefully. I am going to considering this triangle only. Okay. So this is A, this is O as well as this is said to be O dash. Okay. So and at the same time, let us take. So here this angle is nothing but theta I. So from the mathematics, it should be noted that if it is theta I means automatically this should be also theta I. Right or not? Okay. So if it is theta I means automatically this is also theta I. If this is theta I means now this angle is nothing but the 90 minus theta I. So this angle is nothing but 90 minus theta I. Okay. So from this angle, this is 90 minus theta I. So with respect to this angle, since this angle is said to be 90 degrees, therefore OA and O dash, this is forming a right angle triangle. Okay, this is forming a right angle triangle. So opposite to that of angle, this is nothing but the opposite side. So this is nothing but the adjacent side, and this should be nothing but the hypotenuse. Right? So from this, I would like to find out the cos angle. Okay. So what it is giving you is that cos 90 minus theta I equal to what it should be. So cos 90 minus theta is nothing but the adjacent side divided by hypotenuse. What is the adjacent side here? Adjacent side is nothing but AO dash divided by hypotenuse is nothing but OO dash is the hypotenuse. Cos 90 minus theta I is nothing but the sin theta I, that equal to AO dash by OO dash. That implies AO dash equal to OO dash into sin theta I. So this is the length of AO dash. Okay. So now in this diagram, we obtained the length of the AO dash. Similarly, let us take this triangle now. So why I am taking this triangle is because in order to determine what is the length of OA dash. Okay. So I am writing this diagram separately. So let us take here. Okay. So let us take, this is the boundary separating the mediums. This is the normal line. So this is the incident wave. This is the reflected wave. And this is the reflected normal wave. So as we said, this is the bisector. This is said to be 90 degrees. This is A dash, this is O, and this is also O dash. Okay. So just imagine this angle is, what is this angle? Since this is the reflected electromagnetic wave. So what is this angle? This angle is nothing but the theta R. Okay. Since this line as well as this line both are perpendicular, hence the total angle is said to be 90. Now what happens about this angle? This angle is nothing but 90 minus theta R. Okay. So you see from this triangle, so from this entire triangle, okay, in this entire triangle, this is 90 degrees means this is the angle means this forms a right angle triangle in which the opposite side of this angle is nothing but the opposite side. This is the adjacent side. This is called the hypotenuse. Right? So from this, cos 90 minus theta I equal to, so cos 90 minus theta I means that should be taken as adjacent side divided by hypotenuse. So this is opposite side, this is adjacent side, this is hypotenuse. So this should be given as adjacent side means A dash O divided by What is the opposite side? The hypotenuse. Hypotenuse is nothing but OA dash. Okay. From this, what we conclude here is that OA dash equal to cross multiplication. Cos 90 minus theta I is sin theta I into OO dash. That is OA dash equal to OO dash into this value becomes sin. What it should be, not this is theta r. Okay, this is also theta r. This should be theta r. Okay. So from this conclusion, what we are obtaining is that we are obtaining OA dash equal to this value as well as AO dash equal to this value. So as per the concept of this, as per the experimental results, it is AO dash equal to OA dash. So equate these two. So we know OA dash equal to AO dash. Now we have the corresponding equation. Substitute in this case. Okay, OO dash sin theta r equal to OO dash sin theta I. So here these two gets cancelled off. That results sin theta I equal to sin theta r. Okay, so equating these two, theta I equal to theta r. Okay, so this theta I equal to theta r is called as the Snell's law, or this is also called as the Snell's law of reflection. So this is very important concept. Okay, so we obtained the corresponding equation for the Snell's law of reflection, which gives you the angle of incidence is also equal to the angle of reflection. So here, as we already said, so this is very important notation. So in the next step, so as we already know that from the experimental observations, the distance covered by the electromagnetic wave to reach from A to O dash, okay, the distance covered by the electromagnetic wave, incident electromagnetic wave from A to O dash is also equal to O to B. Okay, so as a result, the time taken for the electromagnetic wave to reach from A to O dash is also equal to OB. Okay, so in such case, let us assume the velocity of the electromagnetic wave to cover from A to O dash will be V1, since we are in the medium 1. And at the same time, let us take V to be the velocity of the transmitted electromagnetic wave to cover from O to B. Okay, so let us take the V1 will be the velocity in the medium 1 and V2 will be the velocity in medium 2. Since the times are equal, so as we know, the velocity equal to what does it mean? Velocity equal to distance by time taken. Okay, so for the medium 1, the velocity is nothing but the V1. What is the distance? The distance in the medium 1 is, what is the distance covered from the medium 1? That should be AO dash. Okay, so let us take the distance will be AO dash divided by, let us take time will be t. Similarly, coming to the medium 2, this velocity V2 can be taken as, what is the distance in the medium 2? In medium 2, the distance is taken as OB. Okay, so from this, the velocity equal to distance is nothing but the OB. Let us take the same time is covered, so it should be t. Okay, so from this experimental results, the corresponding times are equal. So from this equation, the time is given by AO dash divided by velocity V1. That means the time taken for the incident electromagnetic wave to cover the distance of AO dash. So from this equation, T equal to OB divided by V2 is the time taken for the electromagnetic wave to cover OB distance with velocity V2. Okay, since both the distances are equal, hence the corresponding time taken are equal. So you have to equate these two. Therefore, since the both are equal, therefore AO dash by velocity V1 equal to OB divided by velocity said to be V2. Okay, so in this case, what should be noted that we already have the value of AO dash. AO dash is nothing but OO dash into what it should be. AO dash means OO dash into sin theta I divided by the velocity is nothing but the V1, that should be equal to OB. So what is the meaning? What is the value of OB means? Let us have the diagram. Okay. So this is the boundary separating the mediums. This is the normal line. So this is the transmitted electromagnetic wave. Okay. So this is the transmitted electromagnetic wave. This is the perpendicular bisector drawn onto the 2 dash points. So this is 90 degrees. Okay. So this angle is theta t. And what happens about this angle? This angle is, this is over dash. So this is theta t. This total angle is 90. Now this angle is 90 minus theta t. Okay. So opposite to that of this angle, this side is nothing but the opposite side to this angle is nothing but the adjacent opposite side. So this side is nothing but the adjacent side. So this is nothing but the hypotenuse. Okay. So you see this entire triangle is just like a right angle triangle. Okay. So opposite side to this angle is opposite side. So this is adjacent side. So this should be hypotenuse. From this cos 90 minus theta t equal to what it should be, adjacent means OB divided by hypotenuse means OO dash. So cos 90 minus theta I is sin theta t equal to OB by OO dash. So equating this, OB equal to OO dash into sin theta t, right? So substitute this OB in this equation. Okay. So we obtained the OB as OO dash into sin theta t divided by, what is that? Velocity is V2. So here OO dash gets cancelled off. So from this equation, what we are obtained here is that the sine of the transmitted angle divided to the sine of the incident angle, that produces the ratio of velocity in medium 1 to the velocity medium 2 with the velocity medium 1. So this is the very important notation. Okay. Let us represent, this will be equation 1. Okay. So in the next case, so this is the one of the representation. So which tells that the ratio of sine of the angle, sine of the transmitted angle to the sine of the incident angle, which gives you the ratio of the velocity of the medium to the medium 1. Okay. So thereafter we know that the velocity can be represented by, that is omega by, this should be beta. Okay. You should remember this formula. This is the formula. Let us substitute in this case. Okay. That is sin theta t divided by sin theta I equal to, since this is the velocity 2, so angular velocity is constant, divided by, this is the phase constant beta 2 divided by V1 means omega 1 by, this should be beta 1. So here, so this is omega 1 by. That implies sin theta t by sin theta I equal to, since omega both cancelled off, then the corresponding result we have beta 1 by beta 2. Okay. So this gives that the ratio of the sine of the angle for the theta t as well as theta I, which gives you the ratio of the corresponding phase constant of the medium 1 as well as the medium 2. So again, this is very important representation. Okay. So in the next case, so this same expression can also be represented in terms of the refractive index. So in order to do that, first of all, it is necessary to have the definition of the refractive index. Okay. So the refractive index can be represented by n. Okay. So the refractive index can be taken as it is the ratio of speed of light in free space. Okay, it is the ratio of speed of light in free space. Speed of light in free space can be represented by small c to the speed of light in medium. Okay, speed of light in medium will be v. Okay, so therefore the refractive index n can be taken as speed of light in free space can be represented as small c, speed of light in medium can be taken as v. If you are considering the medium 1, then the refractive index can be taken as n1 equal to c by, it should be v1. And similarly, if medium 2 is considered, then the refractive index is given by c by v2. Okay, so in this case, now, so from these both of these cases, v2 is given by c by, so here v1 equal to c by n1, and at the same time v2 equal to c by n2. Okay, so now substitute v1 as well as the v2 in this relation. Okay, so now this gives you sin theta t divided by sin theta I equal to, what is the value v2? v2 is given by c by n2 divided by v1 is given by c by n1. So here c gets cancelled off, then the resulting expression gives you n1 by n2. Therefore, the sine of transmitted angle to the sine of incident angle, which gives you the ratio of refractive index of medium 1 to the refractive index of medium 2. Okay, so this is another representation in terms of refractive index. Okay, so this is also called as the Snell's law of refraction. Okay, so before what we are obtained is that theta, we have theta I equal to theta r. This is called as the Snell's law of reflection, whereas sin theta t by sin theta I equal to n1 by n2, that is called as the Snell's law of refraction. So in the next case, we have the formula for the velocity in case of permeability as well as the permittivity. This velocity can be taken as 1 by square root the multiplication of permeability as well as the permittivity of the medium. Okay, so this is the representation for the velocity. Okay, so for example, if it is the medium 1, for the medium 1 v1 equal to 1 by square root mu1 into epsilon 1. If it is the medium 2, then v2 equal to 1 by square root mu2 into epsilon 2. Okay, so for example, if the medium is if the two mediums are said to be the non-magnetic mediums, if both mediums are said to be the non-magnetic, then what happens is that the permeability of both mediums should be equal to the permeability of the free space. Okay, so substituting these two equations in this equation, then what happens is that v1 equal to 1 by square root mu naught into epsilon 1 and velocity v2 equal to 1 by square root mu2 into epsilon 2. Now substitute these two equations in the previous formula, that what we are obtaining in the previous case, that is sin theta t by sin theta I equal to the velocity formula which we already obtained is v2 by v1. Now substitute these two, then representation becomes sin theta t by sin theta I equal to v2 means this value, that is 1 by square root mu naught epsilon 2 divided by 1 by square root mu naught into epsilon 1. Okay, now simplifying this equation, what we are obtaining here is that sin theta t by sin theta I, that is equal to 1 by mu naught into epsilon 2 multiplied by this fraction becomes, this value becomes reverses, that will gives you mu naught into square root epsilon 1. So here both gets cancelled off. Then what is the resulting expression we have is that sin theta t by sin theta I equal to square root epsilon 1 by epsilon 2. So okay, so this is the corresponding representation of Snell's law in terms of permittivity. So this is the one of the representation. And at the same time, in case of intrinsic impedance, we have the formula regarding to the intrinsic impedance that can be represented by eta 1. Okay, the intrinsic impedance can be taken as square root mu by epsilon. Okay, this is the formula regarding to the intrinsic impedance. You should remember it. Okay, so for the medium 1, the intrinsic impedance is given by mu 1 by epsilon 1. For the medium 2, the intrinsic impedance is given by mu 2 by epsilon 2. Okay, for non-magnetic media, mu 1 as well as mu 2 are said to be equal. Okay, so what happens is that mu 1 equal to mu 2 equal to mu 0 for non-magnetic. Okay, so then what happens is that, so what we are obtaining is that eta 1 equal to square root mu 0 by epsilon 1 and eta 2 equal to square root mu 0 by epsilon 2. Okay, so here if you are taking the ratio between these two, then what happens is that, let us take the ratio between eta 2 by eta 1. What is the eta 2? Mu 0 by epsilon 2 divided by square root mu 0 divided by epsilon 1. Okay, so here both gets cancelled off. Then what is the resulting expression is that we can have epsilon 1 by epsilon 2. Okay, so finally what we are obtaining here is that square root epsilon 1 by epsilon 2 equal to the ratio of intrinsic impedance of the medium 2 as well as the intrinsic impedance of the medium 1. Okay, so we already represented epsilon square root epsilon 1 by epsilon 2, that can be represented by sine theta t divided by sine theta I, that is equal to eta 2 by eta 1. Okay, so this is the one of the representation of Snell's law in case of intrinsic impedances. Okay, so from all these cases what we are obtaining here is that the sine theta t divided by sine theta I, this can be represented in various forms. The first form is eta 2 by eta 1, right? Or this can be represented as the ratio of the velocity of v1 v2 by v1, or this can also be taken as beta 1 by beta 2. Okay, this can be represented as ratio of the phase constants. This also taken as n1 by n2, refractive index of medium 1 to the refractive index of medium 2, and this also can be represented by epsilon 1 by epsilon 2, square root of the permittivities of the both mediums. So this is the corresponding representation for the various degrees of representation for the sine of the transmitted angle to the sine of the incident angle. This is all for this lecture, and see you in the next class. If any doubts, just comment in the section. So in the next class we have to discuss about the concept of the total internal reflection. That is very important again. Okay, so this is all for this lecture. See you in the next class. Thank you.